Good evening, everyone. Now you are through with your CA final papers, and I hope that you will pass the examination with the flying colors. Okay? So now we'll be discussing the review. Basically, we'll be reviewing the paper of the indirect tax laws, which was held today. So here, the paper was a above average paper. Okay, question number 1. As you are aware, always a new question is asked in the examination. This time also, they have asked a new question, and they are stating that we are required here to determine the output GST liability, and we are required to determine the admissible input tax credit and the amount that will be paid, that will have to be paid in cash by the company to the government. Before, say, this is what the adjustments are required here. Fundamentally, you are required to determine the output GST liability, admissible ITC, and the amount to be deposited in cash. Now, they have given the information relating to the GST liability of their main product, okay? And CGST and SGST and IGST liability has already been provided, and they have already given the information relating to the eligible ITC, okay, which has been there. Now, beside this, they are providing the information, say they have given a post-supply discount. They have given a special discount, as you are aware. That discount is, say, post-supply discount here. The agreement must have been entered before. So here the agreement was not there. Okay, it's basically post-supply discount. And the same has been provided by way of, say, credit notes. And the stock has already been dispatched to the dealers. Therefore, they have reimbursed the amount in form of discounts. So we have to see about the tax treatment in respect of post-supply discount. The agreement must be there before. So here, the agreement was not there before. That is a fundamental thing. To get the deductibility on account of post-supply discount, just not on the basis of credit note, you cannot reduce your output tax liability. So you have to fulfill the conditions which have been provided in section 15(3)(b). Then relating to a van, the same has been sold at rupees 1,50,000. So in case if any supply has been made in course or furtherance of the business, in case if the supply is made in course or furtherance of the business, then GST liability arises on the same. Then relating to the transportation cost, this type of adjustment has already been given in one of the questions. So if you are charging separately for the transportation costs and your supply is basically your contract is, to supply the goods at the customer's premises, then the transportation cost will be forming the part of the value of the taxable supply. And then about the, if any goods have been stolen, then you will be required to reverse the input tax credit. So reversal requirement will be there in respect of the inputs which have been, say, lost, etc. Then if any food and beverages are supplied to the employees at a concessional rate, so we have to see if the same is forming the service contract of employment. So then it will be in course of employee-employer relationship is there, and in course of employment the same is provided. In that particular circumstance, it won't be covered under the ambit of supply, but in case it is other than that, then the same will be covered under the ambit of the supply. So on that basis, you have to answer the same. Similarly, the mobile phones have been provided to the employees here. Mobile phones have been provided at concessional rate. So GST liability, whatever supply is made even to employees in course of, until and unless the same is in course of employment or in relation to the employment, the GST liability arises. Then in relation to the company's registered office is located in, say, building which belongs to municipal authority, then municipality reverse charge mechanism is there in respect of renting of immovable property, as you are aware of the fact under entry 5A. Then about this circular, I have already told you in the last time also when we have discussed about the direct tax paper review, that this circular has been issued to because relating to what the remuneration of the whole-time directors. On that basis, this adjustment was to be made. So this was first question. The comprehensive question, as you are aware, always is coming with the new points, and fundamentally you must be aware of the provisions of the law. Just by mugging the old, old questions, you cannot make through. You have to. There must be an in-depth study for the same. Okay, so this was about question number 1. Then question number 2, as I already told you, that composition scheme is, say, important one. The same can be asked in your examination. In my last DTP paper review also I have told about the same. So this is one question relating to the composition scheme in case he's a manufacturer and a trader. This is a simple question. Then this second one, it is relating to what, it is also a not very hard question. Here they are selling their products at 20% of the cost. So whatever is the price which is charged, irrespective of the fact, basically GST will be payable on the transaction value. So whatever price is charged, you will be required to pay GST on the same, even if you are selling the same at your 20% of your actual value of the goods. And whatever, say, services are availed, for that, whatever tax has been paid, you will be entitled to take the input tax credit for the same. So it's not very hard one. Then this is a valuation question, which I have already told you that in customs, valuation question comes. So this question is relating to the valuation, and this type of question has already been asked in the examination earlier also. Then relating to this question 3A, question number 3A, that was dealing with the, they are asking for determination of the time of supply. So here one is relating to time of supply of goods, and the other one is time of supply of services. I have already told you that job work is important in my last revisionary lecture, DT paper review, and what topics you have to see. So this time of supply of services in relation to job work has been asked here. Then, they are XYZ Limited has obtained a loan from a foreign bank, and company does not have an account with the foreign bank. So your service supplier is, say, outside India, and service recipient is in India. Okay? So place of supply will be determined as per the provisions of section 13, but it will not be covered under intermediaries, this section 13.8, that is services which are supplied by a banking company or a financial institution to the account holders. This is because they are not having an account. So the place of supply will be determined as per the provisions of section 13.2, and accordingly you have to answer the same. Then this was relating to customs. They have imported a car, and when the car has arrived at the port and the same was unloaded, then he went to see the car, it was damaged. So we will get, say, abatement of duty on damaged or, say, deteriorated goods as per the provisions of section 22. If any damage is there, you get abatement as per the provisions of section 22. So we have to see that here in this particular case. Then in the month of Jan started here question number 4A, that was dealing with the working of aggregate turnover. So as per the provisions of section 2.6, you have to determine the aggregate turnover. It's not a difficult question. You have to write, aggregate turnover, meaning of the aggregate turnover, and calculate the values accordingly. And as you are aware that if supplies are made in which you are required to pay tax under reverse charge mechanism, the same will not be forming the part of the aggregate turnover. Exempt supplies, non-taxable supplies, all will be what included for the purpose of determination of the aggregate turnover. Then in case if the export proceeds are not realized, this question was an amendment based question. We have already seen 96B rule. If you are not able to realize the export proceeds, then whatever IGST is paid to you, the same will be required to be refunded. Then e-way bill requirement question was there, how you have to determine the consignment value. As you are aware, this has already been asked in examination earlier also. Okay. Then relating to, safeguard duty, I have already told you yesterday also that safeguard duty question is important, and they again asked the calculation. This type of question has already been asked in examination 8B. I have told you that you have to work out the safeguard duty. In DT paper review, you can see I have written that safeguard duty is very, very important. Then again, relating to section 74, discuss the amount of tax and penalty to be paid in the independent cases when show cause notice has been issued under 74. So this type, 74 and 73, I have told that they are evergreen topics. So this has been asked for 5 marks here, relating to determination of the tax and penalty. Okay. And then here also again they have asked about the show cause notice under 74. Again a question relating to show cause notice has been asked here. If the charges, allegations of section 74 are not sustained, then it will be regarded as a show cause notice involving normal period of limitation. Then even if the interest is not demanded in the adjudicating order, then also you will be required to pay the interest. So this is very simple one. We have already discussed many times in the classes. Relating to duty drawback, I have already told you that duty drawback is important, and calculation of interest on drawback 75A. This question was dealing with the provisions relating to section 75A. And these were the theoretical questions, 6A, 6B and 6C. So fundamentally, what we see is, here also drawback question has been asked. So fundamentally what we have seen here is that question number 1, that is say a bit tricky. But the thing is, if your concepts are clear, you will be able to do the paper. So what the student must think now, he must not be say worried. See, first question, this is the first question, and now I am worried. So that must not be there at a time when you are giving the exam. Basically, you get what stepwise marking is there for each and every adjustment. What you will be doing here for each and every transaction, you will be getting the marks for the same. Working notes, as I have already told you, is very, very important. So it was an above average paper. Fundamentally, the question number 1 itself is, always a new question. And this type also, they have asked a new question. So this was all about our paper review. I hope that you have done this paper, and you must basically pass the Chartered Accountancy exam on this COVID times also you have given, and you have courage to give the papers at this particular point of time. So all the best now for your results, and you must pass the exam with the flying colors. Okay, thank you very much.